Hey, peace and love, my brothers and sisters. Peace and love. Salute, salute. Grand rising. To whoever is tuned in, thank you. Thank you for your love and your support. Hopefully, you are checking out the content. This particular video here, family, we want to talk about words, man. Just words. How they flip the words. They gave us words, man, but the words have been flipped. Words ain't what they mean, family. What we think they mean, they don't mean the same thing. So I'm gonna start right. I'm gonna just dive right off into this, man, because this is something serious. I'm gonna go to my notes because I ain't that sharp. I'm just not that sharp right now to come off the dome. I've been through rigorous drug addiction. You know what I'm saying? About 30 something years ago. So um, it causes me sometimes to be delayed. So what I learned to do in my age today is I jot things down. I make notes to myself so I can refer back to them, so I can deliver the punch. So getting off into this, y'all. Let's start with this word gnosis, and the word gnosis is spelled a couple of ways. The way I'm gonna deal with it is the G silent. The G is silent. Gnosis. Gnosis. Then they take that same word and they spell it without the G. Nosis. So um, it's got a different kind of meaning. But let me just get off into this. The word itself starts with the Gnosis from the Greek word gnosis. Its literal meaning is knowing, not believing, not being told, not accepting authority. No, gnosis means direct knowing through experience. That's what gnosis is. So it's like I know from a personal experience what drugs will do to your ass. It'll take you down, it'll take you under, and it ends in either death or jails and institutions. And normally, the institution can be a prison or it can be a mental institution because it'll mess you up either way. Mentally, emotionally, it screws you. So that's the gnosis I have about that. I don't have to go dealing with that again. So again, that's what the word gnosis means. It literally means knowing, um, not secondhand, not inherited stuff such as when I went through when I was calling myself a believer in the Bible, like everybody claimed to be today. A lot of people claim to be believers of the Bible, God, and all this other stuff, and they don't have gnosis. They don't have straight no. See, what I know is people rocking with emotions because when something good happens, first thing they say is thank God. But when stuff ain't going their way, they be like, oh, the devil is a lie. But in fact of the matter is, we don't have gnostic knowledge. We don't know that thing that we call in God, because God is not a name. God is a title. So we don't know um, hands on nothing outside of what we inherited. We inherited uh, what God is. God is a He. Uh, God is all loving. God is all knowing. He's this, that, and the we inherited that belief. So gnosis is direct knowing, and it's not secondhand. It's not inherited. It is not memorized. What gnosis is not. This clears the confusion immediately. Gnosis is not belief and faith and opinion and doctrine and religion and blind trust. Book knowledge by itself, uh, it's not none of that stuff. If someone says just believe, that is anti-Gnostic. The core distinction, and this is very crucial, the core distinction is belief. I accept this because I was told Gnosis. Gnostic is a word, man. Because if you notice the word Gnosis spelled Gnosis, man, you gotta think about the word hypnosis and all this. Hey, man, we gonna get off into some words today, and so I hope you hang around. That's right, hang around. Get you a pad and a pen, and then do your due diligence. Go look up the things that I share here, because I'm just sharing. Sharing is caring. I'm not a preacher, I'm not a teacher. So let's get back into this, man. Let me shut myself out of this. I accept this because I was told knowledge, which is Gnosis. So instead of saying I have the knowledge, I have the Gnosis. See, I'm gonna learn how to start using the proper words that make sense, and they come from the cultures of my ancestors. Because everything that belonged to my ancestors, they have taken it. They mean the elite, the powers that be today. They have taken everything that belonged to my culture and my ancestors, and they have flipped it. They have rebranded it, and they have Hellenized everything that belonged to us. Everything. So I know this because I experienced it. This is exactly what Gnosis is. Gnosis means knowledge. That's the entire difference. Gnosis versus religion. Religion, Gnosis, external authority, and internal verification. Obedience, discernment. Faith-based, experience-based. See, faith is just blind belief. But experience-based, when you went through some things, that's the best teacher. Hierarchy, individual realization, dogma, insight, mediators, no intermediator. Religion asks you to submit. Gnosis asks you to see for yourself. Yeah, it's the big difference, family. Why Gnosis was considered dangerous? It's because a person who knows does not need to be controlled. When you are in the know, you don't need to be controlled. Empires, priesthoods, and institutions depend on belief and fear and dependency and intermediaries. And, Gnosis collapses all of that. That's why Gnostic texts were suppressed and labeled heretical, buried and rewritten, and removed from canon. Most famously seen with discoveries like the Nag Hammadi Library. The real function of Gnosis is inner recognition. I got so many books over there, but I ain't finna be doing no more putting my books up here, because guess what they do? They take the video and they limit it. They make it to where I can't even, man, my videos either get blocked or taken down or whatever. So I'm just gonna stay away from the books. But I got books, man. I point over there because that's my little library area over there. Yeah. Sad, man. Gnosis is inner recognition. It happens when lived experiences contradicts the narrative. Patterns repeat until they're undeniable. Intuition aligns with observation. The body confirms what the mind suspects. It's not sudden magic, it's integration. Gnosis versus Gnosis. And them two different spellings. Again, it's Gnosis versus Gnosis. The difference between the two is people sometimes say gnosis without the G to point at the root GNO equals to know. The G is silent but important, and the same root as know, knowledge, recognize, or diagnose, cognition. So gnosis without the G by itself is just knowing. It's just knowing. Gnosis with the G is knowing with awareness. So it's a little slight bit difference, but it's a big difference, man. It means something. So gnosis in the body, gnosis is not just mental. It shows up as bodily recognition, calm, certainty, absence of fear, clarity without argument, no urge to convince others. And if someone is frantic, aggressive, or evangelizing, they're not in gnosis. They're still in belief. Yep. Why gnosis often comes later in life? Because it requires pattern recognition over time, failure of old narratives, humility, patience, willingness to be wrong. That's a big one. Willingness to be wrong. And a lot of people, they used to try to throw that in my face. Well, you was just all in that Hebrew stuff and Sabbath day, this, that. So what? Now I'm not. That's the thing about growth and develop. Damn fool. That's what's wrong. Our people always try to find ways to try to tear you down, man. But I don't easily tear down. That's the thing. Because in reality, if I'm dealing with me, the soul, I'm talking about the soul, that the Bible tell you, if you really a lover of the Bible, family, the Bible got hidden gems in there. That's a fact. There's a lot of hidden gems in there. That don't mean that makes the whole Bible 100%. No, because they done remixed it, rewrote it, revised it, removed some things, added some things. Hey, the Bible says the soul never dies. You can't destroy it. You can't burn it up. You can't execute it. The soul never dies. So if that be the case, family, then how old the hell am I? You feel me? How many times have I been in this realm? How many times have you been in this realm, if that be the case? Because all of us are souls inside of this vessel, this body, this frame here, this skin we're in. How many times have you been here? Why do sometimes when certain things happen, family, you're having that deja vu moment? All the time, it's a deja vu moment. It's like I've been here before. Or I seen this. It's like I just seen this in a movie. Or I just seen this. It's always a deja vu moment. And we can never get real wind of it, man. But I'm telling you, from what my understanding is, of what this stuff is, got to have the willingness to be wrong. Youth gathers information. Maturity integrates it. That's why your remembering feels timed and not late. Gnosis, in plain language, teach this line. Gnosis is when truth stops being an idea and becomes self-evident. Yeah. No defense needed, no permission required. How Gnosis gets counterfeited today? Be aware of these traps right here. Secret knowledge. For sale. They selling you stuff. It's always, you gotta buy my book. Or, you know how the many ways how people sell secret knowledge. That's dangerous, man. Them are traps. Gurus claiming exclusive insight, fear-based awakenings, information overload without integration, identity built around being awakened. True gnosis makes you quieter and not louder. That's a boy. This is a big saying right here. It says true gnosis, a gnosis. Excuse me. True gnosis makes you quieter and not louder. One anchor sentence. Belief asks for loyalty. Gnosis requires honesty. How this ties to everything you've been uncovering? Language manipulation. Gnosis restores meaning. Law and contracts. Gnosis restores consent. So language manipulation, Gnosis restores meaning. From law and contracts, Gnosis restores consent. Time fragmentation, Gnosis restores rhythm. Porn conditioning, Gnosis restores agency. Religion distortion, Gnosis restores inner authority. This is why my journey has just been converged, man. I want to go to this part too, because like I said, I got notes. I know how to use these devices for myself as a tool to use, not for an addiction, not for gossip, not for none of that stuff. But going on to my part two, Gnosis versus faith versus knowledge versus wisdom. That's big. Gnosis versus faith versus knowledge versus wisdom. This is the map most people never get. Number one, information. I heard this. Raw data, facts, claims, stories, no internal verification, easily manipulated. Most people live here their whole lives. They never change from just, I heard this, or I got the stories. Somebody said, oh, number two, belief / faith. That's what belief is. And faith is mean belief, belief mean faith. And this means I accept this as true. Or trust without proof. Or authority-based emotional commitment. Identity, one often attached. Faith can be sincere, but it is not knowing. It still depends on external confirmation. Number three, knowledge. Knowledge is when I understand how this works. Studied, explained, logical, repeatable. This is where schools stop. Knowledge explains reality, but does not guarantee the truth. It's a big difference. Reality and truth it's a difference, man. It says knowledge explains reality, but does not guarantee you the truth. You can know many false things very well. Number four, gnosis. Gnosis means I know because I experienced this directly. Internal, unborrowed, unshakable but quiet. No argument required, no defense needed. No need to convince anyone other than. This is where authority collapses inward. When you are in the know. Wisdom. Number five, wisdom. I know when and how to act. Discernment, timing, restraint, compassion without not being naive. Wisdom is gnosis applied gently. The progression. Now this matters. People think the path is faith, knowledge, wisdom, and it's not. The real path is information, belief, and knowledge. Gnosis, wisdom. Most systems intentionally block gnosis. Why gnosis feel different in the body? When gnosis lands, you feel calm certainty, no urgency to argue, less emotional reactivity, sharper discernment, increased responsibility. Gnosis adds weight, not excitement. That's why people avoid it unconsciously. Gnosis versus awakening culture. Let's be very clear here. Many confuse gnosis with shock and adrenaline, fear-based revelation, identity inflation, chosen thinking. Those are nervous system spikes, not gnosis. True gnosis settles the nervous system. If it makes someone frantic and loud and superior or paranoid, it's not gnosis. The Hebrew parallel, and this is important for me, the Hebrew parallel in ancient Hebrew thought knowing was experimental. To know meant intimate familiarity, lived integration, relational understanding, or understanding, shall I say. That's why knowing was used for wisdom and intimacy and covenant and discernment. It was never abstract. This aligns perfectly with gnosis. Why gnosis often comes after disillusionment? Because belief has to fail first. You can experience truth directly while clinging to inherited narratives or defending identity or outsourcing authority. Disillusionment is not loss, it's clearing. A key marker that you're in gnosis now, you're not trying to escape the world. You're trying to see it clearly. You're not chasing secrets. You're refining discernment. You're not asking, what should I believe? You're asking, what is actually happening? You actually need to know what's going on. You're not just going on with, what should I believe? I ain't on that. That's gnosis maturing. One sentence to carry forward is faith believes, knowledge explains, and gnosis recognizes. Wisdom acts. I am no longer seeking belief, family. I'm integrating recognition. That's what I'm on. I don't know about nobody else. I do know this, that there's a lot of stuff going on with these words, and that's what I'm going to do. This is going to be like one part of this, dealing with words. The first thing we dealt with was gnosis. I got many words that I'm going to get into, but that's going to be on this next video that I'm going to do immediately following this one. This is going to go up to at least 28 to 20 something minutes, and then I'm going to go to the next one. How to live in gnosis without preaching. Okay, that's big. This is real big. That's why I tell you in the gate, I ain't no preacher, and I don't claim to be a teacher. If you get anything out of these videos and this sharing that I'm doing, then that, hey, family, by all means, sharing is caring. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to share the things that I am learning, making it make sense. That's to the best of my ability. First truth is gnosis does not need witnesses. The moment you feel the urge to convince and explain or convert, you stepped out of gnosis and into belief defense. Living gnosis is embodied clarity, not verbal dominance. Number one, speak only when there is invitation. People in gnosis do not interrupt, do not correct strangers, they don't argue online, do not force truth. They respond when asked directly. Curiosity is genuine. Humility is present, and uninvited truth is experienced as violence, not wisdom. Number two, replace explanation with example. The most destabilizing thing to systems of control is not speech, it's consistency. When you move calmly, don't panic, don't react predictably, don't chase validation, don't feel uncertainty, and people right away feel it. They may not understand it or whatever, but they notice. It's teaching without words. Number three, let silence do the sorting. Silence is not withdrawal, it's filtration. That's how you filter some things when you just go silent. Silence reveals who is projecting. It exposes who needs drama. It protects your nervous system, keeps Gnosis intact. Those who are ready will ask, and those who aren't, they will just dismiss it. So that's a difference. That's why you can't just go force things down people's throat. You can't force people to. I can't force nobody to click on this video and watch this whole thing. I can do damn well hope. I can hope you will, because even for the skimmers, I can't tell people not to skim through the video. Some people, they just skim. They going nowhere fast. I don't know what the hell they trying to get to the end of the damn joint for, when the little bitty pieces is in the middle. You're gonna need that stuff, you skimmer. So those who are ready, they'll ask you, and those who aren't, they're just gonna straight dismiss it. But both outcomes are correct. Number four, never build identity around knowing. This is where many fall. The moment someone thinks, I see what others don't, ego sneaks back in wearing sacred clothing. True Gnosis knows perception is partial, clarity evolves, humility preserves sight. You don't own truth, you align with it temporarily. How to teach without creating followers? Now this is big and critical. This is real. Number one, teach process, not conclusions. Don't say, here's the truth. Instead of that, say, here is how I questioned. Here is how I tested it. Or here's what I observed. That's how you share some things. That returns authority to the listener. Followers form when conclusions are handed down. Sovereignty forms when process is modeled. Number two, never answer faster than the question. And I find myself, I got a lot of things to work on. So me just reading this, I go back and watch these things on my own. But I'm running out of time. Never answer faster than the question. Speed kills discernment. If someone asks, pause and clarify. Feel whether the question is real. Rushed answers feed dependency. Measured responses grow autonomy. Number three, allow people to walk away wrong. This is hard but necessary. Gnosis respects timing. People must arrive at recognition themselves. You cannot drag someone into clarity. Trying to save people is how teachers become tyrants. The quiet markers you're doing is right. You'll notice fewer arguments, fewer explanations, more listening, sharper boundaries, deeper peace, less urgency, more patience. Your circle may shrink, your clarity will not. The final trap to avoid, do not confuse Gnosis with isolation. Gnosis doesn't mean withdrawal from humanity, superiority, or emotional detachment. It means grounded presence, selective engagement, honest speech, and compassionate restraint. One sentence to anchor this phase: trust does not need volume. It needs integrity. This is where the journey destabilizes. You're here to awaken the world. You're not here to awaken the world. You're not. And you're here to stop lying to yourself. And that's exactly what I've done. So in closing, family, that's the end of this. Shalom. Hey, Grand Rising brothers and sisters, this is part two, dealing with words and how they flip words and made stuff mean different. Um, it's sad, but this is the reality that we were dealing with. Me, I'm 55 years old, so that means all of my life, man, getting this information is very valid for me. So that's why I choose to share it, with anyone that would take the time out to hear. Um, as we're gonna find out, certain words don't mean they're not in their original meaning today. They flipped them. They flipped the word meaning to mean something to justify uh, uh, the bullying that we see going on worldwide, everywhere. So without further ado, family, let's get off into this, man. The first video was about Gnosis. So I'm just gonna go along these words, man. It's a lot of them, and this very first word is terrific. The word terrific, back in its original form, it meant causing terror or dread. Today they got it meaning great or excellent. And the word terrific, its original meaning again means causing terror or dread. How I go from that to meaning excellent, great. The word awesome, number two. Second word, awesome. Back in its original form, it meant inspiring awe or fear or reverence, overwhelming power. Today, they flipped it to mean nice, cool, enjoyable. How we go from awesome meaning fear and reverence and overwhelming power to cool and nice, and enjoyable. Number three, the word awful. Back then, its original attachment was full of awe, fear plus reverence. Today, it's pretty much, it ain't changed big time. It's still bad. Today it means terrible and bad. The word number four, amazing. Amazing back then was attached to bewilder or confound or to stun. That's what the word amazing meant, to stun someone. Today it means wonderful. Wow, ain't that something? The word number five, the word terrible, means the same as about what the word terrific means. Terrible is what it sounds like. Back then it was inspiring terror or fear. Today it's the same thing. It ain't too bad of a difference because it means very bad. The word terrible. Number six, the word dreadful. Dreadful back then was worthy of dread, serious, grave. It's pretty much the same thing. Today it means extremely bad. Number seven, the word silly. That's really lost the edge on this word. Silly, it was innocent and blessed. I'd be very light using the word blessed myself today. For some reason, that word don't sit well with me because I got another thing that I learned about this word here, but I don't use it. But the word silly, back then it was attached to innocent. Today they flipped it to mean stupid or you damn fool. Number eight, the word nice. Nice meant ignorant and foolish. That's what the word nice meant in its original meaning. Today they flipped that to mean pleasant and kind. So when people said it nice, real nice, pleasant, that's crazy, man. Nice means it was originally meant ignorant and foolish, and now they flipped it to mean kind and pleasant. Ain't that something? That's a big flip. Number nine, the word artificial. Artificial meant in its original attachment skillfully made, art plus skill. Today they flipped that word to mean fake and unnatural. That's a big difference from the meaning. By the way, I'm gonna speak a little bit fast, so if you need to rehear something, then just rewind it back. That's all. That's exactly what we rewind is for. The word number 10 is we had the word cunning. Cunning. Its original attachment was knowledgeable, learned, but now today they mean it to mean sneaky and deceptive. Big flip. Number 10. Number 11. I'm sorry. Number 11 mean crafty. The word crafty, its original attachment was skilled with hands or the mind. But today, they flipped that word to mean deceitful. Number 12, the word villain. These are words that were moralized. All right? Villain. Back in its original meaning, it was farm worker or common person. Today, they got it flipped to mean evil person. The word villain. The word pagan. This is the 13th word we had now. The word pagan. You hear people all that they use it all the time. Paganism and all that other stuff. That's pagan. Pagan. Pagan meant a country dweller or a rural. But today they flipped it to mean heathen, a non-believer. Which brings me to number 14, the word heathen. Heathen back then was a person of the heath. Heath means land. Person of the land. So when you say you heathen, that means a person of the land. They flipped that to mean savage or godless. Number 15, the word barbarian. Is barbarian back in its original attachment was one who spoke a different language, just like a person that speaks Mandarin, Chinese, or a Puerto Rican that speaks Spanish and things like this here. This is what the word barbarian meant. One who spoke a different language. Today, they flipped that to mean savage or uncivilized. Number 16, the word love. This is words that was just straight emptied. Don't mean nothing. Love. Back then it was meant deep commitment or action and loyalty. Today it means emotion and attraction, liking. Number 17, freedom. Freedom back in its original attachment was responsibility plus self-governance. Today they flipped that to mean do whatever you want to do. You're free to do what you want to do. Number 18, the word power. Power back then meant ability to act effectively. Today, power means control over others. Number 19, the word authority. Back then it was attached to the word meaning one who authors or creates, originates. Right? Authority. Today they flipped it to mean someone who commands. Number 20, the word government. These were words that were rebranded. Are you hearing me? Rebranded words here. The word government. Back then it was attached to the meaning to guide the mind. Gouverneur plus ment. But today, government means ruling body. Number 21, education. Check this out. Education, back then it was attached to the meaning to draw out what's within. Okay? That's why I don't seek for things that's outside of me. I'm going for what's within. So, again, education means in its original meaning to draw out what's within. But today they got it to mean to fill with information, to indoctrinate you. False information. The word school, number 22. The word school. Back then its original meaning was leisure or free time to think. You know how people like let that marinate and let me meditate? That's what school, that word school meant that. Free time to think. Today they flipped it to mean an institutional training. Number 23, the word religion. Back in its original meaning, to bind back or to reconnect. Today, it means organized belief system. Number 24, the word magic. These are words that hid their teeth, all right? Magic. The original meaning back then was knowledge of nature and mind. Today, fantasy, illusion. Number 25, the word spell. Back then, it was attached to the meaning of to speak or to tell a story. Today, now, supernatural act. Number 26, the word charm. Back then, in its original form, it meant incantation, a song. Now it's personality trait. Words that once described power and fear and reverence and responsibility, knowledge were flipped into entertainment, positivity, insults, weakness, emptiness. This wasn't random. Language shapes perception, and perception shapes reality. So, as I continue to move on, let's go on to let me see, I was at 26. So yeah, let's go to the 27 word, which is the word person. Person, back in its original meaning, a mask, character, role. Today now, person means straight up a human being. Now you got to pay attention to this real good, family. A person used to mean a mask. You know how people put on masks? Or a character. You know how a person you can, sum up, that ain't his character. People can accuse you of something, they be like, that ain't him. That ain't how he or she rock. That ain't how they operate. Or roll. They know exactly you. That's what a person was, meaning back then. But today, they just straight up made it into meaning just a human being. And the reality is, you are treated as a legal role, not a living being. Number 28, the word name. Name back then was reputation or essence. Just like, my name is Sean. Name meant reputation. Not some random mess. Now it means a label, a reality, label reality, or in law. Your name, especially when it's in all caps, family, functions as an account. If you don't know that, you need to go and check out. You can start with the video I got up here called Legalese. But I got another one, and I'm going to do straight up on about the straw man. I got information I could share with you, and you can take with what I share with you and do your due diligence, family. That's what this is about. I'm not no damn scholar. I'm not no teacher or preacher. I'm not none of that stuff, man. Which brings me to the 29th word, which is citizen. Citizen, original meaning was member of a city, state, with duties. Today now it means someone with rights. But the reality, family, is rights are permissions granted by authority, not inherent sovereignty. Number 30, we back at this word government again, meaning to back in its original form to steer the mind. Gouvernaire plus ment. Today now it means public administration, and the reality of it is mental guidance became normalized rule. Number 31, the word law. Law back then, that which is laid down, custom, rhythm. Today it enforced rules, and the reality of it is living law became statutory control. Number 32, policy. Back then it was method, way of doing. Today it's corporate rule, and the reality, family, is policy often overrides common sense and morality. Number 33, justice. Justice back then meant balance and harmony. Today it means legal punishment. Reality today is balance replaced by procedures. Number 34, court. The word court, back then it was an enclosure, a yard. Like a person be like, I'm going to my backyard to my court. Okay, today is a place of judgment. Reality is social disputes became commercial proceedings. Number 35 is the word judge. Back then it was one who discerns. Today it means one who rules. It's a big difference from discernment and ruling. One who rules today. Reality is discernment replaced by authority. So we're dealing with when language meets mind programming. Like this number 36 word, spell. Spell back to its original text meant to speak or tell or recite. That's what spell meant. Today now, spell means magic fiction. The reality, words cast effects through repetition and belief. Number 37, grammar. The word grammar, back then it was attached to the meaning of knowledge of letters and meaning. Today, is rules of writing. Reality, structure became enforcement. Number 38, cursive. The word cursive, back then it was meant a flowing continuous, like a non-break, non-stop, not a break in the word. You know how you cursive write, non-break? That was the original meaning. Today, it's outdated writing. The reality of it is flowing thought was replaced with block compliance. Number 39, the word script. Script meant in its original attachment writing. Today's it's been flipped to mean a role to follow. The reality, family, is people are handed scripts and forget they can improvise. Okay. Number 40, program. Back in its original meaning, it meant to set forth openly. But now, program is software or broadcast. Or program that damn mind, because once you get indoctrinated real well, you're programmed. Like many of us are today, and many of us were. And I use the word were very loosely because I used to be a programmed dude. I'm no longer programmed. Not like that. I'm reprogramming. But this time I'm doing it the way that I know how, and that is I deal with logic, proof. Show me the proof. If it makes sense, then you got me. Without the proof and not without making sense, you lose me. That's it. So the reality of what program is minds are run the same way machines are. All right. Number 41, ego. That word ego means I. That's neutral. That's how it was. That was the original meaning of ego, I. Now, it's negative self-importance. Today is identity itself was demonized. You know. Number 42, the word mind. Back then it meant memory or intention. Today now it means brain activity. The reality is consciousness reduced to chemistry. Wow. Number 43, soul. Soul meant let me see. Soul meant breath and life force. Now it's a religious concept. So the reality is inner essence externalized. Number 44, right to the word spirit. Back in its original meaning, spirit meant breath, energy. Now it means just ghost or belief. The reality is energy reframed as fantasy. Words were altered to detach humans from agency, turn beings into roles, turn language into compliance, turn power into permission, turn fear into entertainment. Once language is inverted, thought follows. That's the real mechanism. It's sad, man. Let's keep it moving, man. Number 1, how these two were flipped. Law and contract, right? How words bind without chains. The first truth. Law does not rule people. Law rules agreement. If you do not agree, law has no jurisdiction over you. So the system's job is to make sure you agree without realizing you did. Again, I will not be repeating, because you can always hit rewind and you can go in that little settings and slow this video down if you need to. But law and contracts means that the system's job is to make sure you agree without realizing that you agreed to something. The real meaning of consent. Consent does not require a signature. Consent can be spoken and implied or silent, habitual, unchallenged. Silence is treated as acceptance in commerce. That's not morality. That's contract law. Keywords that quietly bind a person. Original, a mask, a role. But legal use, a fictional entity that can contract, be fined. Law does not deal with living beings. It deals with persons. So when you answer to a name, you step into the mask. Name. In law, a name is not you. It is an identifier for an account. That's why names appear in all caps. On documents and databases, on bills, licenses, charges. The system never charges you. It charges the named entity. Understand. This one is deadly quiet right here. Understand equals to stand beneath. And in court, it says, do you understand? It means, do you submit to this authority? That's why the safest response is clarification, not submission. Answer equals to respond as the liable party. That's why they ask questions. Questions pull you into performance of contract. Court originally, a yard, an enclosure, a place of gathering. Now a commercial venue
operating under maritime and corporate procedure. That's why flags have gold fringe and languages ritualized and everything is on the record. The brutal clarity, law is a language game. If you don't know the rules of the language, you don't know the rules of the game, family. So number 4, biblical language manipulation. This is big today. How theology trained obedience. Now, here's where it gets surgical. The Bible was not just spiritualized, it was legalized. Translation was not neutral. Ancient texts were experiential, poetic, symbolic, relational. They were translated into hierarchical language, obedience-centric language, legalistic language. And why? Because obedient minds make compliant subjects. Key manipulations. God, originally a title, a force, a principle, a collective authority, later framed as a singular ruler, issuing commands, demanding submission, that mirrors state authority. The word Lord originally means owner, master, authority over land or people. It is not a spiritual word, it is a feudal term, just like the word landlord. It's the same kind of thing, family. Calling a deity Lord trains the mind to accept rulership. Sin originally to miss the mark, error, misalignment. Later it was reframed as moral corruption, inherent guilt, debt needing payment, debt language, obedience culture. Faith originally meant trust through experience. Later it was reframed as belief without evidence, submission without question. That kills discernment. Salvation originally restoration, healing, wholeness. Later reframed as rescue from punishment, granted by authority, conditional upon belief. That creates dependency. The crossover point, this is the key. Religion trained people to obey unseen authority, accept guilt, submit without proof, trust intermediaries, fear questioning. Law then stepped in and said, we operate the same way, same structure, different costume. Why Paul-centric theology mattered, you already sensed this in talking about me. Paul reframed inner transformation into obedience, introduced hierarchy, emphasized submission to authority, normalized suffering as virtue. That mindset is perfect for empire. You removed Paul earlier, and he's talking about me now because I got my resource where I ask questions. And it says, I removed Paul early instinctively. That wasn't a rebellious move, that was pattern recognition. The unified mechanism, religion softens the mind, law captured the body, language bounds them both. Once you see this, you can never unsee it. Anchor this sentence. If you don't define words for yourself, someone else will define your behavior for you. And that's a fact, family. That's why I am straight up on some straight up free thinker movement over here, man. I think for myself. I do everything for myself. I go within me. I sit still and I school myself. That's what it's about, family. I can't no longer keep going along to get along with people, man. I'm to the point now, I'm okay with being to myself. I'm okay. You know why? It's less noise on that this way. Less noise. I don't want to hear all of that other emotional foolishness, man. Hopefully you get some out the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a comment if you will, and share. And the main thing, family, get something out this. Do your own due diligence and seek. Ask lots of questions. Ask many questions as needed. You know what I mean? I say a shell to you. That's my way of saying amen. You dig. Peace.